There we go. Will you check the sign-in sheet?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see anything on there. That one.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and start with the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nothing on the sign-in sheet. Public participation. So we'll start with approval of the minutes.
Yeah, looks good. Looks good to me.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, code enforcement.
Well, that was quick.
There's nothing slow about us today.
We issued 7 permits for the period. Total construction value of $49,425. 27 building inspections performed. 4 property maintenance issues, 6 zoning issues, and 6 compliance achieved. Building permits issued were deck alteration, zoning permit, electrical permit, another deck, zoning permit, another electrical. So nothing too outstanding this month. It's kind of a slow month.
No grass on yet, so we're good.
No. On your list, patrol, not too much going on with that yet. 604 crisscross, I believe that's ready to, I think Scott and I talked about that should just about be finished as far as getting their land development plan. 188 Forge Hill. So, received a complaint about that. There was a little shanty built that housed a buggy in it that was right along the road. We did send them, I did stop, told the woman that couldn't be there. I gave her, about a week to tear it down. They didn't. We've issued notice of violation for that. They also put up a little shanty for a horse, I saw. So, again, we've included that in that notice.
The buggy thing was tore down right away.
Was it?
Yeah, but the rest.
Yeah, it's gonna have to go.
was
So-
homesteaders.
Yeah. So that's the story on that one. 187 Maiden Creek. This is the one where there was a small fire
With
a couple of weeks ago. So I had been out to the property previously, and the insurance adjuster had just left the property, which gave me hope for the property that, they've got insurance and some of this damage is fire related. So I didn't go in the house that time, just kind of spoke with the woman. She showed me the back of the house where the fire occurred. But this is a house that's got some issues. They've never had gutter on the house. In the back of the house, I think for years, with the water coming down and beating against the house, the wood was wet, got termites in it. It's rotted the baseboard out in that one room. There's a French door there that it's really in bad condition. So I was out at the property, I think it was last Friday. I met somebody from Butts and Company, in Allentown, which is a restoration company for fire damage, work with insurance companies. So they're taking a look at it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the insurance will pay for some work to this house. I'm not holding out too much hope, but I think the woman doesn't have a lot to spend on the house. I think the house itself is safe. That room is not. So I hate to throw somebody out of their house in a situation like that, but I just want to see this play out a little bit and see if the insurance company's going to do anything.
Yeah.
So 330 mine is finished. 1694 Bacillum Springs. This is the property across 662 from Forge Hill Road. That's Stone House. There's been quite a display of different things there. Camper set up, a pool without a permit. So we've issued them a notice of violation. They haven't gotten permits. They can't have a camper set up for people to stay in. And I think there's actually 2 trailers there. So we're trying to get that place resolved. Let's see, 391. And I think that's pretty much it. 35 Whitworth, that's the property where the gentleman died in the home. That property has been sold. And I went back with the new owner. We went back on the day of settlement, and the people that lived back there, I think there's 2 other property owners. They totally barricaded this house off from the road. They put concrete pipe, sections of concrete pipe. There was sections of manholes. So we really had to climb over this barricade that they set up, for this guy to get back to his house that he was having settlement on. It's kind of a welcome to the neighborhood you don't need. But so I don't know, I'm sure the police will be called and have been called.
They already called us, but I mean, we're not getting involved in property disputes.
No, I'm not either. So they'll just have to play that one out and see where it ends up at. Just hope it's not a tragic affair that something gets out of hand.
We heard one time from, I believe, the guy that bought the place, and I don't think there was any confrontations at that point. And we pretty much told the listeners, we don't do property line disputes, and because we don't know what the property lines are, et cetera. I think we was advised to either contact an attorney or maybe you guys. So that was the last we heard about it.
I was out one time because I had declared the house uninhabitable. So we took that off. He had some repair work he needed to do to the back deck, I think. But the sections where the fire and EMS guys said that they came through the ceiling, there was wood over that, so it was okay. But he was going to redo the house anyway, so if he can get to it. So that's what life is in Richmond Township at the present day.
Don't seem too bad. Okay, SEO report for March 25th. So it seems like there's still properties in District 3 that need to be pumped.
Yes.
And that was from 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we should probably do something with that.
Brad is sending out letters.
Okay.
And we received 3 waivers today, which I felt bad for properties that were requesting waivers that are on Kutztown Road because of the PennDOT takeaway. So they're going to be, I guess they were waiting on PennDOT to give them their amounts that their houses were worth, and then it was gonna be destroyed. So they're asking for waivers because they're not gonna pump anything if their house is gonna get removed.
That's gonna be a while.
If they're still living there, I'm not sure why we would accept that.
Yeah, who authorizes the waivers?
Brad does, and he signed off on them today.
I don't know that he has the ability to sign off on township stuff like that without our notification.
I'll talk to Brad about it.
Please. Because this could take years. to
Jim,
get.
how many of those
There was 2 of them that I received,
two?
yeah.
Not saying that that's not a good idea, but why wouldn't, we should at least have some discussion. Or
Right,
any kind of correspondence. There's no correspondence about that.
well, they were just received today, but still.
All right. Police report.
Thank you. Richmond Township, 152 incidents for March, 8 crash investigations, issued 42 traffic citations, made 4 criminal arrests, 13 reportable crimes, 95 traffic stops, 19 hours of criminal investigations follow-up, and 2 hours of court time. We took reports for burglary, thefts, DUI, criminal mischief, harassment by communication, a weapons offense, dog law offense, and an ordinance violation. I won't get into read that verbatim, but I'm still looking for part-timers. I'm hoping to have at least 1 for sure hired hopefully by next month. But it is not easy finding people for part-time work in my profession, evidently. It's been a constant struggle. I'm still at it. Hopefully we'll get some decent applicants and they'll continue to come in. Equipment, I ordered new 9mm Glock pistols and holsters. They're telling me they're several months out, and we'll have to get requalified on those. The only thing, we have annual training coming up, and that's about it. Nothing too exciting for March. And I see there's also discussed a 4-way stop at Shire and Shore.
Yeah, we got a letter from a resident about accidents that happened over there and inquired about a 4-way stop sign.
All right, so I just give you what I looked into since I was given a heads up. So I was able to go back to 2009 in our reporting system, and since then we had 9 crashes at that intersection related. I looked through most of the report, all the reports, and what I was able to find, so 1 driver out of the 9 crashes involved thought it was a 4-way stop sign, and the other 8 crashes involved pretty much some type of what we would consider a stop sign violation. They didn't stop long enough. They didn't look long enough. I don't know what you guys, what your position is on the intersection. I can tell you, I think there's more than enough clear line of sight for the intersection. 9 crashes, I think, for an intersection since 2009 isn't. I wouldn't think that's obsessive.
That's less than 1 a year.
What's that?
That's less than 1 a year.
Yeah. We have intersections that we're doing that a year sometimes. So I don't think it's, I just don't know. Again, I drive that way to and from work, and I drive it on patrol. And I think if you stop at a stop sign and you look both ways, as far as the line of sight for that, I'm not sure where the issue is. Other than just people aren't looking or whatever. But I think as far as a 4-way stop sign there, I could think of 10 other intersections we could put them at before I would put them there. That's just my personal opinion, working this area and driving through it on a regular basis. So, but I think I don't know if you guys have to do a traffic study. Again, that would be up to you guys, but I don't necessarily see the need for it at that particular intersection.
I think these come up regularly when it's a resident complaint about this type of thing. And I will say that the publications where you go into and look at the signal warrants and the study you do, they all say that you can't justify a 4-way stop based on speed. It seems like that's your big concern here. There's a couple other, I've been through there a million times going through, and I understand. It's probably, as Chief was saying, just in the resident, that people are just complacent to traffic not being there most of the time, so they keep going through. But I think the only thing you might get out of that intersection is if you have the same volumes from all legs of the approaches, you could consider a four-way stop there, but I think you also have to weigh that is a straight shot. Do you really want to create that four-way stop and then just
And
have
it's not a four-way, it's not really, it's offset. So, right, am I at the right spot?
No, I think you're thinking of school, Shirey, and
It's
the
School. Yeah, school, Showerage,
Sure.
no, you're right.
No,
Yeah.
Oak Haven.
Well, there's two of them.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the.
Yeah, there's several of those intersections in there, very similar.
But I think you put a four-way stop in there. I think your big concern is now you have
Oh, I
that other
noticed that
road where
now.
people are going to go through the stop sign,
Right.
just because of the.
And there's
same
really no
issues.
sightline issues there, other than that one tree. There's that one tree at the corner there.
I drove it again today. I drove through it every day, but I drove it again today so I could come here with a fresh. If you stop at the stop sign like you're supposed to by the law, what law requires, there's no issues there. Not with line of sight, not even with that tree. It's not in the way. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
Do you think-
I couldn't justify it either in my mind, but I thought maybe I'm not looking at the right data.
I wanted to have your input, but maybe you could send an email back. So we talked with the police, they think, with 9 incidents, it's less than 1 incident a year, not that we take anything lightly.
Right,
We just don't think it warrants a four-way stop there at this time.
okay.
Go ahead, Robbie.
One thing we could do is where the two stop signs are, we can maybe do like paint a stop bar, or even Fleetwood Borough has a line painter that we work with. We can start with a stop bar and maybe put stop there to start.
That'd be a great idea.
And then maybe, I know that tree, I think the Schulers said that they don't care if that tree comes down either way, but that could be something down the road with that tree. So we could start, if you guys wanted to, we could paint a stop bar and a stopper. I'd have to look at the book to see how it gets done, or maybe I'm not sure exactly what you're supposed to do there. But
You could probably, in that situation, you could pretty much put it where you think it makes sense. But yeah, I think as long as you're about 10 feet off of the edge of the road, you're probably right where it needs to be.
Yeah, I would think that's a good idea, Robbie. I think you should do that. And you
Then
can,
we'll take a look at that tree, the health of that tree.
yeah, I can meet with the tree guy and see what he thinks.
Yeah. and Schuler, start with Schuler first.
I'm pretty sure I talked with one of them a while ago, and they said they didn't care either way with it. So, but I can double check with them first.
Because that would be good. That might open up some more insight.
It's a healthy tree. I hate to take it down, but if it's not, and it's an old tree, then maybe consider taking it down.
We'll start with the line painting stuff,
Yeah, I like
and then
that.
Excellent.
maybe the tree later down the road.
There's a tree on the right of way.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
At least half of it, at least half of it is.
It's a big tree.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody kept pushing in and said that they're not taking that as an answer, it's not helping. If you needed just a letter to justify what the warrants are, I mean, that's a quick thing for me to just throw together. It's not everything the chief's saying is right on to what you would have to put in a letter to say you should or shouldn't, but I think last resort kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Let's jump work on that. Virginville Fire Company report.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're good. I have
Thanks,
another meeting.
You're good?
Tonight, so
Another meeting.
Yeah.
I'm glad
just
this-
keep jumping around.
I'm glad this one's first and most important.
I love it. I do. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Virginville, I don't have any questions. You guys good with that? Walnut Town Fire Company.
Doesn't look like we had too big a spring fire season this year. It's getting dry there for a while. Not a whole lot. Brush fires.
Nope.
4. It's good.
Okay. Lifeline.
It's pretty consistent.
Yeah. Any other questions? Discussion supporting Burke's Nature.
The township has never done the contributions to Burke's Nature. I don't know if we want to start. I know during our joint comprehensive plan meetings, we are talking about green space right now, and I'm finding out that Fleetwood Borough is does actually contribute with Burke's Nature. Gotten some great ideas from them. They're going to start planting some dwarf grass to cut down on their mowing time, and they're putting some native flowers around to cut back on their excess mowing that they do, and just get some good information for maybe our open space. Don't know if you guys have the desire to do some municipal support with Burke's Nature or not. Like I said, we have not done it in the past.
Well, I suggest an amount.
250.
250 down here.
They've been hosting these municipal networking lunches for several months, and I've been to a couple of them. They're actually pretty interesting. If anybody is available, staff or supervisor, I'd recommend you consider attending.
So you think it's a worthwhile cause?
Yeah, I support them.
Okay. Well, I'll make a suggestion.
Yeah,
Support it.
$40, that's.
They maintain some easements for us in the township. We've worked with them quite a bit through the years. It's a good organization.
Do you, it says by 250, are you gonna be able to get the check to them by then? By April 30th? I make a motion to support that in the amount of 250.
I'll second.
All in favor? Municipal sponsor of Albright's College.
Last year, we did a contribution of $150. I don't know if we want to do 150 again, or.
Yeah, I make a motion that we do the same.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. The Rotary's pollinator garden request.
I received a call from Loretta this past week. She is part of the Rotary Club. She actually submitted information for a grant, which she never thought she would actually get, and they gave her the grant to have these pollinator gardens. One they just did in Fleetwood, which are in the packets here. They're pictures of them, and one they would like to do in Richmond Township. They're looking for I think it's an 8 foot by 8 foot area. They come, they dig up, they do everything that's needed. They mulch it, they take care of the plants that are dug, and they put like a little plaque there just to state the flowers that are there, that it's from the Rotary Club. Just a nice little area for the bees and butterflies and everything else to come around. So it's completely free for the township. She would just like to see if we have an area that we would like to give them to put this in.
Well, first of all, I think it's a good idea. I don't have any problem with that. So second, do we have an area that we can? Robbie?
Not off the top of my head, other than the open.
So if I was gonna
space
say
area.
open space, maybe where you're working to start.
Yeah, if we could be farther down the road, that'd be an excellent spot.
Just technically,
Just anywhere in the township, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just said an 8 foot by 8 foot spot that they can do this because she said theirs, the one they did for Fleetwood is in their park. And they have like a little plaque and everything for it there, so people can go over and look at it and read the plaque and everything.
Would you wanna do it out here?
Yeah, you'd have to mow around it, but you could probably do it out here.
Just a thought, if that's.
or up on the hill,
Or up on the hill where.
by the Stones, place up there.
Wherever, I guess.
I don't think it would be an inconvenience to you if you could, if they mulch it and you just don't blow the grass in it, blow the grass out. I mean, that's just what I do. You do whatever.
The deer shouldn't eat it here.
Yeah, the deer should be fine. I make a motion that we let them put it somewhere Robbie and they're choosing here at the township. Until we get that. I just don't think we're quite ready for it over there.
Not really, we want to really have a spot.
Right. We don't want to have to work around it.
Yeah.
But, and then let them know, hey, in the future, if you have a project 3-4 years down the road, there's be a spot over there for you also.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they replace the plants over time or whatever. I mean, it could be that it's here temporarily and then once the open space is ready, that they move it over there.
Yeah.
Well, it says on here, every
What?
spring we will replenish plants that die during the winter and clean up the weeds, etc. So they take care of everything.
Did I make a motion?
You did, no second.
All in favor? Engineers report.
Willow Crest, Grande had gotten into the residential area and done a lot of the concrete repairs that they needed to do. There's still a few things that we went through and looked at, and they have to come back, do a couple things, but they're also scheduling out when they can do the rest of that open space area. I mean, they were waiting until the weather broke, and that's happened, so
It broke.
trying to figure out when they can get in there and do that and wrap that up.
What about the lights?
They basically had a date that First Energy, right, isn't it it is, canceled on them because they had something else come up. And they had said, well, we'll see when they come back. They didn't respond, so I actually reached out to them just to try to push a little and say, we're trying to get this dedicated lights on for the residents. And I didn't hear a word. We could ask Jen to reach out to them. I mean, I think when she did that and kept asking them, it seemed to actually get a little better response, so.
We just got an email that they have new customer service in this area doing great things. So it said.
You have to be very, 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 let me emphasize that, very persistent with those people. Or you don't-
Jen was good at doing that end of it. I thought the mention of the supervisors and trying to get the roads dedicated would help, but it did nothing.
I'll put an email to Vicky tomorrow morning.
There's no consequence if they don't.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease with them.
Use your charm, Jen.
You had emailed me about the title search from Brown.
Yes.
I'd like to review that, because that's the only title report there is.
Okay.
We didn't separately do any title search.
Okay, I'll send that over to you.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have anything else for the Willow Crest at this time. The solar farm, we're still just waiting for them to request to close that out. We still have a couple punch list items. Conservation District is waiting for it to just take for the seed before they say it's okay, but we had our question in about the ponds and stated our facts about why we think it's not necessarily looking like it's operating properly. they're gonna have to answer that before we move forward with any kind of closeout here, but, I expect them to be ready to try to make that move soon. But they've just been quiet for the past couple months. With that said, I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, I did talk to Andy Miller. They have the agreement for the work on Weaver Road, and they'll be sending the check to you directly. We're also gonna issue a new temporary CO, because the previous one is running out. So we'll take care of that this week.
I had mentioned I thought there might be some wisdom in trying to roll that Weaver's Road repair in with the road repair. If we could get it priced, because we'll be working right in the neighborhood, right up the street. So I thought it would be a good idea perhaps to put those two together.
The only concern, and now that we're talking about it again here, would just be that the prevailing wages would be part of the contract. So it might put their costs up a little bit.
I'm a little concerned because of how a lot of things have gone with this project, and muddying the water by mixing it in with the other road work. I don't know, if you think we're gonna save some money possibly, then
But if we're gonna do
Yes, you can
prevailing wages.
justify it.
not-
Yeah, well, I didn't think about the prevailing wage, but
I mean, I prefer to keep it separate.
okay, we can do that. I just,
And they're gonna pay for the entire cost based on the estimates from Polk.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cover the work period. That's the number we got there. We got a quote from, New Enterprise, which was a little higher. So it's still really the base quote there. I had said something to Sam just before the meeting, but it was, the third company was H&K to see what the price was. I never got a response back from them, but I'm assuming this is probably gonna be the better of the prices, but,
As long as you document it, this, with 3 quotes, you don't even have to take the low one, you just have to get 3 quotes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we shall make a motion to approve the contribution agreement for asphalt repairs. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
the only other was the, temporary CO extension.
Yeah, that time extension, I would recommend that the board act on that.
Yeah.
And, as long as we still are holding all of that escrow money, I don't have any problem with extending this temporary permit, because I think it will serve the township's interest to have them continue to work on those site improvements.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
If someone would, at some point, like to do a walkthrough there, let's say, tell me what their thinking is in that upper pond. Because I think we need to make a change there.
And I think when they come, if they just make it a little higher, right?
They need to restrict their plate there because it's not holding any
Something.
water right now.
Yeah.
Just, it shouldn't cost that much, but I know you can't just do the common sense approach.
Well, and I think that was what I was trying to set it up for that in my letter to them, but they have chosen not to respond at all, period. Won't give any feedback yet, but at some point they're gonna wanna close out the project. So, I mean, it's a reasonable request on our end to say, here's what we're seeing with the ponds. Sign off on it, or maybe we just put a plate on there and better meet what you have in the design report. So I think we can get there.
Is the conservation district giving any input on this? I mean, maybe that would help sway them if conservation district would give a thumbs up to that change.
I will reach out to them and see what I can get them on board with on that. They did throw out the idea of making one of the larger ponds an infiltration basin. I don't know if that's actually going to be acceptable by their own standards, but it seems like they were pushing in that direction, so I think they would be. And I had just said something to Jeff about this. I want to try to meet with them before we close out these permits, just to make sure. Their last email, which was similar to mine, what they were looking for. So
And the conservation district, that's the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see
So,
us reaching our goal of additional retention without that upper pond, because that's where it's all gonna take place.
so Lineback was out here for this whole meeting. He understands what's going on. If you don't get where you want to go with the conservation district, reach out to him.
Okay.
We went in, well, you were there.
Yeah, we met with
Yeah.
We met with him, so he understands clearly and say, this is just what common sense looking here. It's just what we're thinking. Can we get some help to just, we'll get achieve what we're originally looking for from day one?
Yeah, I think the plate on that upper pond makes all the sense in the world because it's just gonna achieve better what they have in the report. And if you go out there and watch what's going on, you just don't see what you expect to happen. So, yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna have a similar pass-through situation that we've, where we've achieved nothing unless we get some restriction there.
I'll push on those other ends before the next meeting. So even if they don't make the request, that we can try to have a better discussion about them, where they stand and what we can.
Let's get ahead of this.
Yeah.
All right.
The Forge Hill Road Bridge, I mean, Robbie can kind of answer that one, but it looks like that's gonna be moving forward sooner than later.
Yeah, so Scott and I have been working with a representative of the county, and we're actually going to mill the bridge deck off tomorrow, and then sometime the week of the 21st is when we're going to overlay it. And I think, and maybe somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, but we're just going to pay for the materials and then send the county a total bill. And then will reimburse us for that.
I think that's what we discussed.
Yes.
About.
Yeah, that matches the emails they agreed to then. So that should work out just.
So the road will be closed for a while.
Not necessarily. We'll probably kind of taper the milling, and you can pass through for a week. And if there's any problems, I believe their engineer is going to come out and take a look at it, just in case if they saw something.
Good idea.
Beforehand. So we're going to leave it sit for a week, and then the following week we'll overlay it.
Perfect. Okay.
The Fleetwood Borough Authority Land Development, that was recommended by the Planning Commission, but sat for a while. They're going through it the right way. They're waiting for their permits to all be approved by the outside agencies before they come to the board. They're asking for the extension as they are till May. I think that means they're planning on being here at the next meeting to present that plan to you, and we can kind of go through everything that developed on that project as they went forward. But
And that's
they have the solar panels in the front yard, basically. They got the zoning variance for that. So I think they've been, I don't know why it's taking so long through the NPDS permit. I don't think they pushed really hard on it. But that looks like it's been taking a while. So right now, all they're asking for or granting is a time extension to the May meeting.
yeah. I'll make a motion to do that. All in favor?
The only other item I had was the estimate on the streets that Robbie and I had discussed. I sent that out. That item was really on Robbie's there for road work, but I think the expectation is about 400,000 for street work budget this year. Is that close, Jen? I don't know if you have
Yes.
an idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was really just the list of what seemed like was the musts. It's a little short of that number, but as you can see, and Robbie was saying, Mine Road does not have any patches prior to the 2-inch overlay where it probably could use a couple patches. Rich made in that number was 1,500, but could easily be larger. I think with adding a few items in there, even if they're as directed, alternate items, so that if it does come in a little higher than expected, we could just award based on the other items.
No, I'm okay with it being a little less this year. I think we were a little over last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have any questions. If not, if this looks like a good list, then we can put that together if you want to authorize us. to
Rob is
prepare
good,
it.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'll make that motion to
Prepare
prepare the quote or prepare the,
The bid package. Also,
all in favor?
I didn't have anything else unless you had any questions.
Nope.
No.
Okay, solicitor's report.
Okay, so the next item is the sewer report, and we did have a hearing scheduled for this week, but account holder showed up with a check, and just want to ask if that had cleared. Do you know
Yes.
that? Okay,
Yes,
good
it did.
news. All right. So that was a pretty substantial payment.
Yes.
I don't have any other items and no action items unless you have any questions and anything to see on the report.
Nope.
All right, so then the Eli Drive matter, we talked about a little bit last month. Property owner there is looking for satisfaction of outstanding liens on the property. I reviewed the files that I have electronically, and I don't see any indication that they were paid. What I could tell was that during the time when the township was offering an amnesty program, this account holder did not take advantage of that program. And the reason I know that is because in my electronic file, I have a DJ complaint that we filed the year after the amnesty program was in effect for the entire amount that was due at that time. So, and it was in excess of $12,000. So those fees or charges that were owed were for the original tapping fee and sewer connection that were paid for by the township and not reimbursed by the property owner. So I don't know if you found any additional documents here at the township.
Just everything that I've sent you electronically, and that was it.
All right. So at this point, I would ask the property owner for any evidence that they have in the form of receipts or anything that they paid these liens. But I would not recommend satisfying these liens unless there's some evidence provided by the property owner that he had paid those liens. In my opinion, they're still owed, based on the information that I've seen.
Okay. I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Do you have any questions about that?
Nope.
All right, I didn't know that one was out there, but it looks like it's still on an open payment owed to the township.
Roadmaster's report.
I guess, talk about the mailboxes on Fleetwood Lines. Everything went good with that. I guess the only question is I'll have to get with Jen. I'll have to figure out when to notify the post office that everything is 100% done. I didn't get a chance to check out the mailboxes today to see if everybody had one installed on the other side of the road or not, but I assume once that's done, we can notify the post office and they can start delivering to the other side of the road. So that's where we're at with that. We're gonna be doing the oil and chip stuff with Maxatoni and Albany Township. They set up the bid for the spraying of the oil. AMS received that bid this year. And we plan to do that sometime in June, I think. I don't know, Jen, do we need to do that thing to approve the bid there?
Yes. Yeah, Albany had their Board of Supervisors approve the bid from AMS with on the contingency that Maxatawny and Richmond Township approved that as well.
You reviewed it, you're good?
Yeah, it's the same thing we did. What Albany does is us and Maxatawny, we say, hey, we're gonna do 3 miles. Maxatawny's gonna do X amount of miles. Albany's gonna do theirs. And it all goes together. We get a better price with the oil. So Albany sets all of that up, and then they receive the bids. And it's the same thing we did last year. It just seems to say that we approve the bid, accept the bid, I guess.
I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
How does the bid compare to any budget we had for that item? Is it consistent with what was budgeted for that item?
Yeah. We set up we upped one of the line items for road work, I think a year or two ago, specifically for the oil and chip stuff. It's separate than the road work that Scott and I do together.
That's why the Scott Road works down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the only other thing is the crew cab that we have is kind of slowly on its last leg.
What year is it?
2010, and I'm pretty sure that truck was purchased brand new. It has the, Sam can tell me what engine it has. It has the Ford engine that they say doesn't last very long. Fortunately, we have 100,000 miles
6 of them, yeah.
on that truck, and we religiously change the oil every 3,000, which I think is a big help. We're starting to notice a lot of rust underneath, and there's a couple holes in the bed itself.
So maybe I was incorrect. I thought that was the one we bought up at,
that was the 550.
no, I'm confused the two of them.
We put a new used transmission in.
Yeah.
That was the 5-speed.
So
This
that
one,
was,
that was purchased used.
yeah.
We since sold that. The crew cab has been here
So
since.
this is the old.
Probably one of the first new things we got.
I believe-
I think I started here in 2012.
I'm almost certain it was purchased brand new.
Where would I find that? Probably on record somewhere.
So that's where we're at with that truck.
And you want to go with the Dodge?
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. I just want something that we don't have.
Starts and goes.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're having some transmission problems with it now, like, kind of seems like it pops out of gear every once in a while. It's automatic.
What do you think it's worth?
I mean, who knows? We were very surprised with the outcome of the last truck we sold, the Chevy 7500. I think it sold for almost 20,000, and we were expecting 10.
Yeah, I was jumping for joy.
I think the only thing that hurts this truck is it's known to have engine problems. But other than
But
that,
everything's so expensive.
somebody that knows what they're doing can fix it, and it's a half decent work truck. So.
And is this in the budget for this year? Can we talk about that?
We did. I don't have my sheet with me to show, but I'm pretty sure that we have money in there for, not specifically for that, but I don't think we talked specifically about that at budget, but there is money budgeted for a truck or a piece of equipment, and then.
We didn't use anything for equipment this year yet.
No,
Not yet,
Nothing
no.
on the
We still
books.
we still have the capital or the equipment reserve thing too, which,
there's not much in there.
yeah, we would
No.
use that for something, yeah. Now, the only thing we bought this year was the used snowplow. So,
And what's the lead time?
well, they said like last week that if you would have ordered it, it would be a 25. But now if you order it now, it's considered a 26. So I really don't know when we look at it.
I think if we look back at the budget, I think we would have budgeted enough to cover this.
I believe so. Maybe we did talk about it, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I did too, but I just didn't have it in front of me. And you don't have anything else on the horizon?
Not really. I mean, we were talking maybe to replace one of the mowers, because we're gonna have to mow the open space area.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have 3 right now, but I think we're all right with that. We can make that work for this year. Maybe that's something for next year.
Good.
So
Was it your thought we're gonna be mowing that open space this year?
Yeah, I would think.
I would think eventually, I would say very soon.
Whenever we dedicate it, that's when
Yeah.
we'll have to mow it. I don't think it'll go to next year. What do you think, Chris?
I hope it's not next year. I'd like to see that finished.
With the grant though, are we holding off dedication for the grant? Because that was one of the contingencies.
Yeah, you're right about that. We talked about how our eligibility for the grant depends on us not doing the work.
Right.
Or spending money on
Because
it.
it was either the property value or the actual,
Yeah, so in order for us to claim credit for the value of the land to meet our matching funding requirement with the grant, we can't own it until after the grant is
approved, which is possibly in what, September, I think it is,
I
possibly?
think so, yeah, the
So-
earliest.
It might not be till September, so we might not be mowing out there until next
So
year.
maybe that's one of the deals. We'll mow it until we get the dedication.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. We could have an agreement with Grande after they complete the work that we have responsibility for maintenance, but we're not taking dedication.
Okay.
I mean, we could do that.
Is that the same thing for the streets then? Or
Yeah.
is it the liquid fuels and so, what are you saying, it needs to be in September? Or what was that deadline?
Well, yeah, it's usually, we try to avoid.
I think that's the
winter
May
maintenance.
latest is the beginning of September.
I mean, at this point, I'm not sure what
Could we do those
road
separate though?
work, huh?
We could do those separate though.
Yeah, we can do those
that,
separate.
couldn't we?
Yeah, those aren't tied together. They're.
Yeah, I was
separate
just
pieces of
asking.
dedication.
Just so
But,
I can-
I mean,
Yeah, I think
typically, you don't want to accept road dedication after the September deadline until spring, because you don't want to be responsible for winter maintenance without the liquid fuels revenue. But at this point, we're beyond, knock on wood, any winter maintenance on those roads, so I don't know. I don't think there's any reason to keep waiting. Is there work to be done yet? Or
For the roads, it's, well, the lighting's the big thing. The lighting's the big thing, and other than that, they have some punch list items that they could, if they wanted to get out there and fix it in 2 weeks, they probably could.
okay, so once the punch list is done,
Then it's really, do you want to take it over? I think we'd want to wait until they get the lights done. That's a little open-ended, but hopefully a little pressure to get in there and do it. But, yeah, I think the streets are gonna precede the open space by quite a bit, I think.
Well, as long as we get the streets in and we can get it on the fuel tax, well, whatever deadline that is.
yeah, we got to do it by the August meeting. I mean, that's
Yeah.
typically.
And I'm okay, because the residents over there are chomping at the bit
Mhm. Yeah.
for the winter maintenance. Okay, what are your thoughts on the truck?
Right. I think we have.
We have it in the budget.
Yeah, I think we have it budgeted. No, I would say we should approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve it. All in favor? Aye. Anything else, Robbie?
That's all I have.
Good, thank you. Secretary's report.
In the general fund, we had check numbers 11886 to 11927, including EFTs for $210,162.63.
Make a motion, we approve.
No, second.
All in favor? Aye.
State fund, no checks. Light fund, check number 2181 for $834.88.
Make a motion, we approve.
No, second.
All in favor? Aye.
Sewer fund, check number 3295 to 3307, including EFTs for $28,960.86.
And I'll make a motion to approve it.
No, second.
All in favor? Aye.
Walnut Town Fire Escrow, check number 2190 for $1,084.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
No, second.
All in favor? Aye.
Virginville Fire Escrow, check number 2193 for $1,084.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
No, second.
All in favor? Aye.
In your packets, I do have a little bit of a quote here for the possibility of in-house sewer billing for us using our QuickBooks software, which we already have. I did get a quote from Diana Patton. She is from Numbers Made Easy. She does a lot of classes through PSATs for QuickBooks. Willing to set up the billing information on the sewer account for about $450. If we have enough of a time frame, putting the customers into the system is not that big of a deal. I can actually do that on my own. It's just figuring out the actual interest, penalties, attorney fees, and everything as to how to set that up itself. So she will be able to help out with that. As far as payments, we can go through Intuit for people who want to pay electronically, EFTs and such. I don't know if we really want to get into credit card payments since we haven't done credit card payments before. And I know if we start doing that, it's going to be permits are going to be paid by credit card. And I don't think Kraft takes credit cards. It's check or cash. And I don't want to have one doing one thing and one doing another because we've always done either check or cash. So I don't mind doing EFTs if it's coming through that way.
I think we're in 2025. I think credit card is the thing that has to definitely be considered.
Okay.
Just people will pay quicker because they don't have the cash.
Okay.
We'll tack on the fee.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, I mean, I don't want to make it more difficult.
Right.
I'm just being realistic.
Well, we have.
Well, I'm not 100% sure we would have to take credit cards for everything.
No, not for everything, just for sewer.
And that was her concern.
Right.
That
What's
we
your
have to
concern?
take them for everything.
Take them for everything. The other thing I was thinking of is like, I mean,
I don't want to make it harder for you. I just think the
Right.
sewer account is something they're going to pay on the credit card because that's just the way of the world.
okay.
Then we don't have late fees, chasing them down, paying Chris's bill because they didn't pay.
You don't have to treat everybody the same. I mean, you can do permits differently than.
Right,
sewer
okay.
bills.
I'm just thinking like if, I mean, other places I had worked for, they took credit cards and it was just like, well, the person just stopped paying on it because it was, saying it was fraudulent use. But I guess we can just contact the resident and just say, I don't want to have to get into that kind of situation.
We're getting the situation for what?
Fraudulent use of credit cards if we actually charge it.
Stop payment on the credit
Yeah,
card.
stop payment on a credit card versus an actual check. I mean, you still have your payments, but then you have to find.
How often do you get bounce checks? Does that happen?
No.
You don't have bounce checks?
No.
Well,
Although I pay online, I don't pay with a credit card, but I guess that's with a check too. I don't know.
Well, the whole thing is trending that way. But no, I agree with you. There's still a lot of people.
They can't afford it.
I-
They can
quite
afford a
honestly,
credit card.
Right.
We probably have a better chance of getting paid if they do take a credit card.
Correct. That's that's
Okay.
my
But I
point.
see where he's getting at.
Okay.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Not to open up a can of worms, but is that something that could be a link on our website? That you could pay it online? I don't know how that would be, I don't know who or how that would be.
I don't want to get it too complicated.
That's what I
It's
mean,
gonna take it up.
I'm just,
And I think we can probably do this down the road. Once you get set up, we won't start it, but maybe we'll see if there's a need.
Right.
Yeah, I think we walked a little.
We have the
bit
option.
before we run.
But we don't have to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean.
And because you'll have people calling, "Hey, will you take a credit card?" And you'll know.
Right.
Yeah, the QuickBooks setup
Yes.
is separate from the payments. I mean, I guess what Robbie's saying, hypothetically, you could do that, but that doesn't have to be part of the initial setup.
Correct. Yeah, the actual electronic payments through Intuit, it would be something that we could include on the invoice where they can go on the actual Intuit website, click in the invoice number, it'll give them the payment amount, and it goes directly into our.
Is that a fee?
No,
Oh,
It's not a fee to us, but per transaction, it'll be like the swipe. Right there is the 1.5%. So if the actual, it does not cost us anything, but the residents who pay by credit card or
Would
by
that
ACH,
ACH.
yeah, that's how you're getting the actual percentages there.
Okay.
But it would not cost us anything to actually have that available for them to do that.
Well, maybe start with that and see if that is good enough.
Yeah, let's start with that, Jen. Let's see
Okay.
how that goes, if that's your
Okay. The only
request.
other request I had was the people that come in with checks or that actually send the checks, having a remote check deposit machine here.
Absolutely, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
And are these amounts from the bank?
Yes,
Just
yes.
see if there's some negotiation room on that. Maybe not, since we pulled all that money out.
Well, that was one of the things that I've been trying to negotiate, and it was, why don't you bring your other funds back here, and no,
No,
no.
but maybe we look at other banks. Well, that's whatever you do is fine.
Okay,
But definitely, we have one for years, and that's we don't even go to the bank.
right.
I cringe
Now,
to go to the bank.
The one from our high interest rates, they actually would give us a free check depositor, but it's only for their bank. It could not be used with anybody else. So the
Correct.
ones from First National that we have, of course, you have a fee for that.
So could we put it in that other one? What's the withdrawal limit on there, the deposit limit?
But I think with that, you can only withdraw, if I'm not mistaken, once a month. I don't want to have too many issues with trying to
No, that's all
do
right.
that kind of thing.
That's all right. I was just trying to,
Yeah.
and it's $100 a month.
Yeah, and especially if they come in with checks for something else, for permits or whatever,
Yeah.
it's good for First National, because then we can put it in the general fund, we can put it in the sewer fund, whatever they have.
Yeah, I think it might be a good idea to keep a relationship with a local bank.
Maybe there's another local bank that would
Where it could be, I didn't say which local.
reach out and just say, this is what we're looking, this is what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help us on any of these fees, or we'll stay where we're at? I don't know who the local bank would be. I don't know that Fleetwood's big enough to offer those services. but
Right,
somebody-
it'd be nice and convenient, because it's right down the street. All right, I'll reach out and see what I can find.
All you have to do is send them your bank statements and stuff. and
Yeah.
do a analysis.
Okay. So you guys are okay with going with that?
Yeah, make a motion. What do we have to do? We have to make a motion for agenda to proceed? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Just have to know when the contract ends with.
August.
Yeah.
I think it's the end of August with Pam's, so we have to give them 90 days
Or you will
notice.
be, so let's,
90 days before or,
90 days before
Wow.
August.
okay, well,
May, June, July, so by next month.
I should do it next month.
Yeah. Yeah. Will you be set up by?
I'll make
So
sure it's
will
done.
they bill through the end of the year, or will they bill, do you know?
You know what, I would suggest that you authorize Jen to give them notice now,
Okay,
just to, I don't know how they're.
Yeah, we don't want to miss the, we don't want to miss the deadline.
Because I'm
They
thinking,
locked in
what
for
if
10
What
years.
if it's the beginning of August? I don't want to mess with that.
I make that motion.
okay.
All in favor?
But tell them, we need them for a couple more months, but we're gonna.
Or even to the end of the year, but whatever you decide.
Okay. Okay. I do have in your packets, we had our, Scott and I were here with Roxanne and did our audit review with Turbine.
Went well.
Everything went well. No issues.
Jen did a great job again this year, so.
Thanks.
That makes for a smooth review.
Yes.
Jen, the only thing she had suggested was the letters and lien, so that we send something out to the residents.
Yeah, I had discussed that we were going to be bringing sewer in-house as a possibility. We were going to discuss that tonight. Because with the action with Pam's, if it's over $1,000, we do certain actions here with Chris. She had recommended that we have something in writing that when we're bringing it in-house, that we have a limit, a dollar amount limit, if we still do $1,000, if we want to send letters out, but to make it written
Public,
down
yeah.
and followed through.
Yeah, A policy,
Yeah,
Yeah, policy procedure. whatever.
a collection policy.
yeah,
I think
and
that'd be awesome.
And when we actually do the transition, I'm gonna get a letter together just stating from the residents, this is what's gonna happen, these are our policy, these are the rules, this is what's gonna happen, payments will be accepted here. Give us your address, give us an email address if you want the actual invoices emailed to you versus going through the mail, and go from there and just have everything written out. I'll have you guys proof everything before anything goes out.
Perfect.
And the tax collector has sitting dates here for April.
I will not be here until Tuesday the 29th, but I can do Tuesday and Wednesday. If so needed.
Well, I can do these others if you want the first four. You
Scott,
said-
you're gonna take all four of them?
Yeah,
The
and you
first
said
four?
the 29th and 30th you could do by.
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
unless I forget.
I'll email you.
But it's just locking up.
Yes,
At what time?
7 o'clock, they're done.
So, you know,
Yep, they go from 5:45 to 7 PM.
better just double check. Nothing on the 29th or the 30th. How is that possible? Okay.
And the last thing I have here is I received an email from the Berks County Tax Claim Office, 260 Southview Road. Their mobile home was removed, and they're looking for a motion to exonerate the balance that is owed because they no longer live there, and the trailer was removed. The information on their taxes is attached on here.
How much of that was township?
Trying to see.
No, I'm trying to figure it out, I don't see it.
I'm sorry, I thought they had it written on here, my apologies.
All right, well, we would be district. It looks like it's less than $200 to the township.
District is 40 here, then 2024.
40 and 47.
Yeah.
And another 40.
Yeah, this one, for all the years together, I think it's less than $200.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it means
So why are they exonerated?
Because I guess they've tried to collect and the actual mobile home was
Yeah,
removed.
it's weird. Mobile homes are taxed as if it was a piece of real estate, and it's separate from the real estate with the mobile homes look at. So the land is still taxable, but there's a separate account created for the mobile home. And the mobile home, if it's gone, you can't really enforce a lien against it. It's it's an asset that has disappeared. Anyway, and again, it's less than $200, I think, that the township is affected. Most of this money is school district and county.
I'll make a motion. We
Exonerated.
exonerate.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And did we make a motion for them tax collecting dates, or was that just information?
That was just information. That's all I have.
Okay. I don't have anything from the chairman's report. Are we gonna, do we have to discuss anything else about the pending litigation, or is that
Well, other than,
or is that a,
I did meet with Ron and Melanie Kurtz this week regarding some concerns they had with Lion Solar. part of those concerns were Weaver's Road that we addressed tonight. We'll take care of that. And other concerns, I think we'll have an idea of where we're going with the solar system, with the water runoff issues. Are there big concerns? And we're addressing those as we go. So
So nothing else to report.
really nothing other than that at this point.
Okay. I have nothing, Scott.
No.
Any public participation? Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
No second.
All in favor? Aye.
Making progress.
Weather hasn't been your project on the next.
Great.
Let's get
I didn't actually check on this year. And I haven't checked on this year.